What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Happy Friday. It's a Friday session. Looking forward to it. You guys got me amped up this morning. I'm grateful for it. Getting ready here to find out what's going on. There's a lot going on, actually, for a Friday. We're going to get into it. Oh, I love this quote over here Dan started off the session with, though. Let's see what today brings. That is just the right CTM attitude, right? What is the market going to give us today? We're not trying to impose our will on the market. We're trying to get in the flow of the market, right? Another one over here, let's make money, right? Rule number one to make money, right? Don't be in a rush to lose your money. There we go. All right, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Looking forward to this. London calling. Love that message this morning. We got India, everyone. Yeah. Another one, quadruple witching day, right? It's going to get volatile towards the close today. Listen, I'd probably be a non-event in my opinion. However, we all have seen, right, especially even the last 5 minutes of the equity market close, massive volatility before. Will it be any different? Probably not. I don't think it's going to affect our analysis, though. Everyone's watching out for it. We'll see. You got to be aware of it. Denver. What's going on, Denver? Austin, Malaysia, Toronto, Canada's in the place. So Switzerland, got Sydney. All right, let's get going. Let's take a look at what's going on here this morning. We're going to start off with some quick data this morning, right? We saw that core retail sales came in a little bit lower than expected. Retail sales kind of on the, I'm looking at data out of excuse me. Let's start this over. Looking at data out of the UK and Canada, this is probably a non-event today for the US. Normally that could be a big, even though it's a medium impact news event, it could be a big one, which could lead to some that could be the high or the low of the day. But because of COVID, these numbers are pretty low, and I don't think it's going to affect the market whatsoever. Next week is kind of Powell week. You see on Monday, Powell speaking. He's testifying then. Later in the week on Tuesday, he testifies before the House, and then he speaks again on Thursday. And then you also got Mnuchin speaking on Thursday as well. That's all interesting and a big week for the euro, as you have starting out of France. First, the flash services PMI Wednesday morning, and then out of Germany, you have manufacturing and flash. So actually next week is a pretty big week as far as the calendar is concerned. Want to look what's going on with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Blair sent this over this morning, and we're going to take a look at that chart and some important levels. We're going to start over here. Love it, right? Don't even look for tips. Don't even look for tips. Learn how to analyze the markets yourself. Sweden, what's going on? Good morning. Islanders lost. Islanders lost a tough one in overtime. Moment of silence. All right, let's go over here. We have the S&P rising. We have the S&P this morning challenging yesterday's high, the peak of the high yesterday, coming off of the pullback yesterday, held that support, and now rising out. Looks pretty bullish to me. We do have the Nasdaq leading by a small margin this morning. Right, so listen, it's Friday. I'm going to find the flow, whatever that might be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's my jam. Favorite sport ever. I'm going to find the flow here. We're going to actually, again, talk about the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. You can see this morning you have the strongest currency pair is the Japanese yen. Weakest is the Australian dollar. That's some risk off flows. That is Will this morning in Telegram was spot on with his analysis, talking about, because before, throughout all this, we didn't see the flow into the Japanese yen. I mentioned that I think last week on the live stream. Well, I know I did. And now if we start seeing a flow into the Japanese yen, that's worrisome. However, we're going to get a real clear look. Right here, the currency markets are going to give us a little bit of an edge. So we're going to look for that. First, we're going to start off looking here at the S&P 500. We're going to flow into the Nasdaq, then the Dow. Then we're going to be taking a look at the DXY, right, which was bid up and then sold off so far this morning. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum had a good day yesterday. and then we'll go into FX. All right. Good morning, Zoltan. Glad you're here. All right. So S&P, this again, we all did our analysis yesterday, right? That was the spot to get into the trade over here off the support. Pretty good risk to reward ratio. Anyone who is looking to buy the index, that was the spot to lean into. All right. Now it's a question of managing that trade, which means you're looking to push it, right? If you're able to get above this resistance over here, this is our next line of resistance, right? That's coming in right around, let's call it 33.98, right? If we cross into that resistance, that's the time to come and move your stop loss up to break even and continue to pushing that trade. Continue pushing it, right? We're targeting much higher. I'm targeting myself. I think it's in this area over here. You see a little bit of horizontal resistance, and it's between these two. It's between these two. That remains the target area that I'm looking to push to. Now, what else is going on? Nasdaq is leading so far, but not with any type of authority whatsoever. Not with any type of authority whatsoever. We have over here on the 8-hour that tweezer bottom. You can see that double touch over there into the support. Horizontal support always carries more weight than trend lines. And you can see over here the break of the trend line, but the horizontal support held. Look over there. You got 4 touches, right? What does that mean to me? Well, it means to me if we break that on the downside again, that probably will be it. There's been not any sellers down here so far. You see all the wicks, right? That's bullish, but the Nasdaq is not looking bullish. Someone else pointed out, by the way, let me put this up. This was pointed out by Stefan on Twitter yesterday. You can see this little sloping channel, right? And you can see the slope here, 1, 2, 3, higher lows, and then over here the lower lows. It's a perfect channel, right? And that's something near term you can focus in on. What on the upside over here, if you're able to rise up and come onto here, that's a place. Don't look for the horizontal there. Look for that downward sloping channel as resistance. Great look, Stefan, and nice share. All right, what else? Dow just finally turning green this morning. The futures, it's about 20 minutes, 18 minutes into the equity markets open. You can notice this is what my eyes were drawn to right away. Do you see that little bit of consolidation over here? Dow, if it's able to make that higher high above that resistance over there at 27.36, that's bullish. Equity market, is there a bear flag? Let me come back and check on that. My eye caught that. But I see, another nice pattern that was pointed out by Alan this morning on the Nasdaq itself on the 30-minute. He was pointing out this. You could see this. You see that little bit of ascending wedge over there? A breakdown of that, right? And that's on a 30-minute time frame. So it will come back down. This is now support over here. Let me clean that up. Where is it? By the way, you guys really just completely changed my whole attitude this morning. You guys just bring on the positivity. And I just want to say thank you for that. Again, this is near-term day trader type stuff, but a break over there of that, you could see that ascending triangle over there, right? Where would that bring us down to? I think that this should be right there. I'm focusing on those touches, that touches, that touches, that touch over there, right? Just tighten that line up a little bit, and that could, a break of this, day trader, bring us back into that support. Anyway, let's keep going. To me, the indexes over here are putting up a fight. They look good. They're defending that critical trend line over there. And again, that's what we're always looking for, support, especially critical support, to hold until it doesn't. That's when it doesn't is when we look to attack on the other side. All right. And again, we put out that video on Sunday because everything was closing down near that support. That's when we really need to watch. This is the level we need to watch from now on, right? This support over here at 33.39 next week. That's going to be a big one. That's going to coincide also with our trend line sloping up. Not much else to say about the equity markets. Absolutely, Alicia. That's awesome. It's awesome. No, yeah, only expectations is going to be a non-event. But listen, we'll see. There could be some volatility into the close. That's nothing new, right? We're always seeing some large volatility into the close. Lots of imbalances cause massive moves into the close. Let's focus in on the dollar, right? This morning, if I go to even a small time frame, you could see that again we were below this trend line over here, and it was defended again. So this line, this trend line from this channel, this was resistance. Resistance. Why price was inside this channel over here? That was for a month. Why price was in there, it remained, this was resistance. It broke, and so far has held as support, and now again so far as support, right? There's a big battle going on here. There's a huge battle going on over here. How does this affect our analysis? If we're able to go down below this support, this trend line support over here, at that point, that could lead to actually a bigger move on the dollar, challenging and perhaps taking out the yearly low. Now, at the same time, I think it's up here, this resistance we couldn't get up across above on the FOMC. That's the place that for us to say, okay, the counter trend move is now underway. We need to break above. So all this over here, this is kind of no man's land. All right? That's clarity. That's what it is. Why you're stuck in no man's land, there's no clarity. That's clear. Thank you for that, Luis. I appreciate that. Anyone here this morning excited for the Friday session? There you go. Wait, because there is shapeless. Go ahead, smash that like button. Let's get going here. Gold, right, maintains its consolidation here inside the triangle, right? Maintains it over here. I laugh at you. So over here, again, we looked at a possible entry off of the support over there. That was coming after the price action. FOMC, this faded, and then support held, rising above it. We saw the reversal of the dollar, right? Again, is that the best place to lean in? No. This is the best place to lean in. 1900, that remains the level over there. As long as that holds, this is the bullish structure on this is absolutely in place. I'm expecting and continue to expect a breakout above until we lose 1900. Now, if we do break out over here, right? And let's say that we break out above 1976, right? At that point, later on, and this is coming into October perhaps, if we're still holding and then break this line up here, that's going to be then where we exit, because from here, from 1976 down to 1900, that's a big fall, right? We don't want, if this trend line breaks, the further we are up, a couple of weeks from now, a few weeks from now, that our 1900 level, which is the level for me right now, is going to be moved up as well. As price moves up, so do our exits. Put it that way. I'm going to try to clean that up. Can you imagine? All right, silver. Let's take a look over here this morning. Yes, I have not been following that, but I keep hearing signs of that as well. So silver's on the back foot today, down almost 1%. While gold is up. Interesting. You could see though, this is the trend line that we're consolidating within. It's a triangle pattern just on gold, but just like gold, when I put that 1900, it's not only a triangle. I have also a descending triangle, right? And you can see both those patterns playing out, which is why I say if we lose 26, at that point you want to get on the sidelines on silver, those that are holding long, and wait for a bigger pullback. We have two areas, 2450, and then we have below here at 23. Let's call it 2320, 2315. Let me actually get a line in there just so we have it in case we break down. It's a little bit easier. All right. What else? We got Bitcoin. Let's take a look. Anyone want to check in on oil first? Oil's coming into some resistance now. You see the oil into resistance? Let me go ahead and check this down. Boom. There it is right there. My eye went to first this touch over here. That was resistance. Over here in this whole area, this was providing resistance, and then that flipped to support, spiked over here. That's an area right now that we're focused in. I'll give a short signal. Anyone looking for it? You know, this was bid up of two reasons. Before the storm came, we were saying, all right, well, we've pulled back into support, definitely in an uptrend. You want to buy into support. This is going to be the place to lean into. Then we saw this triangle develop, and we did break out. This was on the hurricane. We broke out to the upside, but now we've come into some resistance, right? So sideways market. Look at this. Sideways market. In a sideways market, you could buy off support and sell into resistance. We'll see. Again, not attractive for myself. Boom, 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 boom. So, Bitcoin over here. Bitcoin is continuing to. I love how Bitcoin acted on Wednesday during the FOMC and after the FOMC. It was one of the most stable assets out there. The next day, as the markets sold off, they sold off New York session. Then they sold off throughout Asia and into London. And you saw Ethereum was up 6%. You guys see that disconnect that's beginning. Now we're not even into the bull market has just technically begun, and we're only just a little bit above here on Bitcoin, right? It's not into the first quarter, the late end of first quarter of 2021 that the party really gets started. And at that point, by the way, BlockFi is offering some type of promotion. Anyone who's a first-time customer deposits $500 and holds it, I believe. I think for like 1 month, they receive $250. I'll find out the details for you later. But that seemed like a good deal. Bitcoin continues to look very, very, very solid over here. Ethereum down today, but it had, again, after the FOMC, some nice movement over here. It's into this resistance. I was saying on the live stream yesterday, if you didn't buy off the support, as we spoke about, that was on Tuesday morning, 360 support, resumption offer, that's a place to buy. You're into resistance right now. You don't want to be buying into resistance ever. But if you make the higher high over here, clearing that resistance, that gives you another entry. That's the difference between a high probability entry and just like buying into resistance, which is ridiculous. All right? So keep yourself safe. Take those higher probability entries. Yep, I'll find those details out, Thomas, or you could yourself. Obviously, it's easier. That's good. It's possible it gets filled. It's possible, right? Now, if by the way, on Bitcoin over here, once we clear back into this channel, once we're able to regain this resistance over here, which this weekend is coming in at 11,350, once we're able to clear back above that resistance, then the odds of us trading sub 10,000 are obviously diminished. Let's keep looking over here. So the equity markets are getting ready to open in about 7 minutes. Nasdaq leading on the session today. Now have the Dow turned green, participating. And again, everyone is aware, and that's the whole thing. Everyone is aware. There you go, Rich. Everyone is aware of quadruple witching today. Could bring some volatility, but most of the time it doesn't. For me, it's a non-event. We'll see what happens. Let's go look at FX. Let's start with the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Right? We saw, and Will appropriately said, we're seeing a little bit of move in the currencies into risk off. That could be a sign. That could definitely be a sign of more, let's say, well, bearish or dangerous things, right? Well, I have no idea. Not about that. About whether or not we close red or green. I can't predict the future at all. What do we got in here? Whoa. There we go. Tidy that up. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Blair this morning shared this chart over here. This is coming from Forex Live. you could see over here this trend line we got connecting this high over here in late 2014, middle of 2014, that we hit again in 2017. I don't have the same analysis, so I'm going to take a look at it right now with you. But first, just keep this chart in mind over here. He's saying, well, it's a very important close, whether or not we're rejected by this trend line or not. Let me take a look at what's going on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. First of all, long-term trend lines, huge asset. Short-term price action, we're swing traders, right? This is where we're focused on. Notice this looks a lot like the S&P 500, right? Clear as day, all right? Now, what do we see over here? Well, first of all, to get any type of big technical break, it's this area right over here. It's coming in at 75.50, right? You can see this trend line coming in, this horizontal support. Now, that's not it, right? Yeah, there's no other touches. I don't have any other touches down here touching anything else down over here. That's the line that, why above it, this is very bullish. Now, do you see over here this little bit of area that we peeked down into? I'm going to go ahead for 1 second and move this trend line up to there, right? Right to there. And you can see that's where we've peaked down to today so far. Okay? So that's an area of support we've hit. Now, longer term, so this is what I'm focused on, right? We need a big breakdown in order to think we're breaking. And then you see this trend line over here. Come over here to the 3-day with me. This is going back 2 years now to 2018. This is resistance. Over here when it broke, that became resistance again. This was a fake break. Resistance again. And then when it broke out here, that was flipped to support. So that's a big line, and a break down over here of that level we just looked at. Australian dollar, Japanese yen is the risk on, risk off pair. Very, very, very important to watch. If we break down below there, then it does look like we're going to see a prolonged move, and that is the line we'll be watching on the downside, this trend line over here. Now, if I go back up, and I'm going to go first to the weekly time frame, and I just go back and I'm looking for 2014, this is the trend line that we started over there, 2014, middle of the year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just put down a trend line from there as well. And then this was the area that was connected next, right, in that chart, that area. So I'm going to keep extending that down. There you go. That's a good look, actually, right? You can see over there we peaked above it. So far, that's holding as resistance. That is, let me say I got that pretty well, right? Over there, it was 2017 in the beginning. 2017, yeah, well, that's towards the end. Either way, I see it. I'm going to keep that trend line in there. That's a pretty good look. That's a pretty good look. That's useful for us, right? Let's keep that in there. Thanks, Blair, for sending that over. I appreciate that. Blair started with us, right, in October, November. There used to be 30 of us for months. Heath, Jesse, every day for months, just 30 of us doing the same thing we do here today, doing our analysis, putting in the work, putting in the time. If you want to be successful, you have to do your analysis. That is the single most important part of finding success. The more training you put in, no matter what activity, whether you're studying to be a doctor, right, whether you're a professional athlete, no matter what it is, the more people who spend time on their craft, they're the ones that all of a sudden seem to have the easiest time. All right, let's take a look up over here. We're seeing the equity markets all green this morning. They open up in a couple of minutes. Today's Tesla battery day. Right? Is that going to be a sell the news type event? I don't know. It depends what's introduced. All I could say is that I'm very interested to see what happens. Now, by the way, I was looking and focused over here as looking at that to be the place to hold. Now, let me just hold on 1 second over here, right? This is where we're like, all right, this is the place to lean in and buy if you resume off that support. And then I said, watch what happens over here. If you trade below it, it's time to exit that position, right? Now, everyone could see that was not correct, because what happened clearly is that this support over here has held, and we resumed off that. By the way, that's another place then to take the entry, right? Off of the higher high, off of support. Now, is this what is this like a buy the rumor, sell the news into battery day? Maybe. The reason I was so protective of this area, because this is when the equity markets were on the verge of breaking down. And if the equity markets would have lost this very important support over here, that could lead, and very quickly, to a much bigger meltdown, right? So what do you look? That's in my view, in my mind, that's exactly the way to play it. You have to always be. It's like, you know, they say the best offense is a good defense, right? And defense is super important. I'm always looking to cover my backside, right? Too much analysis leads to powerless. You got to if that's the case, you got to force yourself to take those few trades. Next Tuesday, thanks, Jay. Still got some. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that clarity. Next Tuesday, I'll actually be watching some videos this weekend and finding out what's expected, and then I want to find out after the presentation what the response is. Appreciate that, Jay. Let's take a look at Palladium first, right? Okay, so, and I still stick with, this is unclear for me. Ever since we came into this resistance area, right, I've been unclear. It remains that way for me. No clear read. Copper, let's take a look over here. Copper defended the $3 level very well, run into that resistance we have right over there, backing off a little bit. This is just consolidation here, and while we consolidate here above that $3 level, that is super, super bullish, because that should be leading to another leg up. Platinum, let's check it out. That's Palladium. Sorry about that. What's the ticker for Platinum? Who knows? PPBLT. No. What's the? I need a ticker over here. Who can help me out over here? PPLT. This is what we're looking at over here. Chart is noisy for me. Let's come to the 3-day for a minute. So this is kind of what I see what's going on with gold and silver, right? A consolidation pattern. Look over here, this trend line over here. This is the money trend line over there. Steep off the lows over there. I don't know. To be honest, it doesn't look so inviting for me right now. Definitely it looks like copper and palladium look like the better trade over here. You got some also horizontal resistance over here where my mouse is. Let me draw that in. Now, yeah, I mean, look, from just a TA perspective alone, it doesn't look like the leader by any means. Yeah, it's got some work to do. It's got a lot of work to do. That's all I could say. Right now, should that angle be more like to the close and close over there? Maybe this is better. And the reason I say is because I'm connecting to the close over. That's where the resistance hit, right? So I think at the earliest, wait for a break of this trend line over here, right? And then you have to take a little profit into that resistance, move your stop loss to break even, wait for a break. Technically, that's got to break that. This is pretty good resistance over there. And you got to get above 98 before you start looking to really attack and look better. Look, I'm sure there are some fans over there, but I'm not. It's unbiased. I'm just calling it as what it is, right? There you go. This is TradingView. You could just go to tradingview.com, free software. I use the upgraded version. It's $7 a month. because it allows me to use 8-hour charts, use ad sets. As the markets open, S&P giving back a little bit of its gains. The Nasdaq is holding. That's all noise right now. You could see this little bit of right over there. Let's see what that looks like on an intraday time frame. Let me put down to a 30-minute time frame. I want to see if that's any type. Yep, you can see over there. Look, resistance, support, back to resistance, support. This is a local level. A resumption off of here, right? That should take us to test the daily highs on there. Huge crash is coming. Oof, someone could read the. Someone could has some type of insight to the future, right? Let's go. Nostradamus is in the house. Was in the house. We don't take spam. No, thank you. Just attention. Some people need attention. I guess Apple, by the way, Amazon was into nice support over there, resuming out over there. This is an important level, I think, probably to watch for the entire market, right? Look down over here. Well, you see how everything actually plays together? Because right over here, if you look at Amazon, if you look at that support over there, if you look at Apple over here, you can see the same support over there. And then you look at the equity markets, and we all know where our important support is. Everything is definitely aligned. There's a lot of clarity over here. It doesn't make it easy as you're entering any type of critical support or resistance. That's actually when it's the most difficult. Rex, absolutely. Let's look at the euro, US dollar over here. And so, by the way, right, we said this together as was this yesterday's live stream? When we were rising over here, and then we looked at this and we said this should be resistance on the way up. Look what happened. We came into the resistance because this was all support the whole way up. This trend line was support, right? So yesterday during the live stream, price was only right over here. And we extended this line up, right, Rex? And we said this should be resistance on the way up now. Let's see how price reacts off of that. And then I also drew a little bit of, I showed my mouse. And I said you can see also the horizontal resistance there as well. Price was rejected right by that trend line resistance. This works the same on all markets. It's not just here in the currency markets. Now, the currency markets happen to be the easiest to trade. Why is that? There's a whole bunch of reasons. We don't need to get into that right now. So you need to cross back above, as we said yesterday, this trend line over here, this trend line resistance, in order at that point to get bullish again on the euro US dollar. And if we do, that should lead to a test over here, not only of the high, the yearly high, but into this trend line over here extension should be the resistance that move picks out. Right now, you should be neutral. For this whole area, everyone remember the DXY? This is all neutral. I'm going to flip over here really quick, and this is all neutral. We need to clear above that resistance to get a clear read that a counter trend move is taking place, or below it. Right? Same thing on the euro US dollar, because the euro is heavily weighted into the DXY. This is all no man's land right now. A breakdown below this support over here at 1.7668. That's going to take us into the 12-year, this blue trend line over here. This is also extended down. It's highlighted right there. That's the place, the make or break it line. That's the make or break it line. What does that look like on the DXY, by the way? I'm interested to know. That's probably right over here, 94. You could see that little bit of resistance at 94. And if we break above this, then we're targeting much higher. We'll look at all that as it unfolds. Taking a sip of the matcha over there. Bart, that's the outlook right there on the euro US dollar. That's true. By the way, that's true, Alan, right? People, you got the bears always yelling the sky is falling, and then 10% of the time they're right. I'd rather just trade from both sides. People have been saying in the comments on YouTube, obviously there are people that just started following the channel that my analysis is super bullish. Well, yeah, of course, the markets have been super bullish. Of course, my analysis is bullish. We have every reason technically to be bullish. That wasn't the same over here. Over here, I was incredibly bearish. The videos are on the channel. You could go watch as we hit late February, right? By the way, over here, speaking of those that were here with us, it was late in January. We were the first to be talking. We were literally one of the first to be talking about the developing situation with the virus and what that could mean for the markets. That goes back into late January, mid to late January, when that became our focus. I think every one of us, right, probably went into quarantine quicker than everyone else and really been stocking up supplies well before everyone else. So no, my analysis is bullish because everything technically is bullish, whether that is the equity markets or whether that is gold and silver. Now everyone could watch where I'm looking for that to change, right? Because we've been consolidating and we're on the verge of possibly breaking down. And if we break down, I will go quickly from bullish to bearish, right? It's not a question of like, am I a bull or am I a bear and picking a side? That's ridiculous. It's not a question of like tying yourself to some macro view, which you could be wrong for years or months. It's just following what's going on in the charts. And then, you know, that's what you got to do. Gold seems weak. Bitcoin follows. Maybe. Maybe. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate that. I thought he said Bitcoin follows gold, not gold follows Bitcoin. Gold so far, by the way, gold was the one who did, and leading silver. Gold was the one who did all of the hard work on the way up. Silver then followed. Gold was the laggard on that. Now all of that was, again, 2021 first quarter. All those correlations, right, for the rest of that year are going to break. That happens, and then it's going to break again in 2023. Gold and silver and precious metals could continue and probably will continue their bull cycle, and you're going to see Bitcoin and the rest of crypto getting wrecked, right? So again, sometimes there's correlations, and other times there's not. Jordan, clip out the last bit so we can repost to the naysayers. The part about the bullish and the bearish and just following. That's a good little rant right there, right, Ali? Good to see you in here today, by the way. Thoughts on why U.S. dollar and stocks fell together yesterday instead of diverging? No. You know, when I say no, Miguel, there are times that you have the dollar rising and stocks rising, right? So, you know, again, correlations, you can't be tied to correlations because correlations also break. Now, during the crisis itself, yeah, everything's almost correlated down to one. We're not in any type of dollar crisis. There's no signs of a dollar crisis right now. All right, so I'm not expecting one. S&P has gone unchanged on the day. Nasdaq's still holding on to a little bit of gains. It's just noise right now. Now, that could change really quickly, right? We have our levels to watch out on the downside when things get interesting. And this is going to move, well, make it easy. You have the low of over there after the FOMC. This was during the London session before New York came in over here. That's coming in at 33.21, right? A break of that could lead to some substantial sell-off. On the NASDAQ over there, same thing, right? We have that. I should move that support up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. We were looking at that. Follow myself over here. This was support, resistance. Let me go ahead and move this line up right now, just to give us a little. Oh, what was that? It's Friday, by the way, which allows us to kind of open this up to some discussions of everyone, if anyone is interested. You could see that my flow is a little off today. If you see that, please give me a thumbs up. You definitely had a bad flare up last night on the line, but you know, I'll get lots of rest this weekend and come in hot and fresh on Monday. Yeah, so by the way, there's a video on the Forex playlist, I think the most recent one, about the true trend, how to use it and when. You know, and let me just take a look at that. I mean, me personally, following these trends, I wouldn't be looking to swing trade Amazon. I would be more focused on what's going on the longer term. Let me pull that out. Let me look at both of them. All right, so this is the chart I'm looking at. Your chart could obviously be different. That would lead to different, you know. So, but I mean, the way that I approach this, the way that I personally approach this is not really, this is just like Friday, I'm throwing it out there, right? I look at Amazon and I look at the equity markets here. Very bullish, obviously. Now, everyone knows the levels I'm looking at where that might change. Now, in my view, right, more stimulus is coming. The market's going to react positively off that. We're looking at $120 billion of QE monthly. That inflates asset prices. I'm looking, and I am in the camp that this bullish nature of the market continues. Now, if it doesn't, and that could happen even as today, we could get a big change over here, I'll flip. But in that case, when I look at this, right, because this is like, if you look at how I trade Bitcoin, let me pull it up for you. Let me pull up this for you as I get over here. And I apologize for just being off. Lime is terrible. Look over here. This is the true trend is giving this uptrend over here. When you get the pullback on the true trend, the 70-30 period over here, this is normally where you want to be scaling in a prolonged uptrend. This is an opportunity. Now, I talk about that, I think, in that true trend video. You might want to look into it. You can see over here, right? I'm going to just pull back over here. And these are all opportunities now that Bitcoin is in this bull market, right? And Bitcoin isn't technically a bull market. Anytime you have the true trend over here going negative, it's a place to lean into and to accumulate, right? Coming out. That's your accumulation phases. Is that happening on Amazon right now? I mean, that's what I lean towards, that this was an opportunity and is an opportunity to buy. You could see the support over here, though. That's an important level. If we lose this support over here, right, that means we're also probably losing this 33.20, 33.18 area, the low of Thursday morning, New York time, and that could lead then obviously to a bigger sell-off. Yeah, they're running out of time. That's for sure. They're running out of time. And, you know, I think that's done on purpose, obviously, but that's fine. So, by the way, this is just not a place that we talk about politics at all. So we're just focused in on the markets. Now, of course, we're focused in on if there's no winner election night, right? How that's going to be affecting the markets, what kind of outcome, all that stuff we always factor in. But when it comes to politics in general, we just don't do it here. We're here to kind of like just form a really strong, supportive community that are here to work together and profit from the markets. If it's going to affect our analysis, we'll talk about it, and that's it. Please stop the clicking noise in the background. That's the mouse clicking. I'm sorry. That's the mouse clicking, though. We need that, right? Otherwise, we can't do that. You got to be able to focus in on what's. By the way, in all sincerity, the time and the analysis, the education that's shared here has taken an enormous amount of people and given them the guidance they need to make real money and profit in the markets. That's kind of priceless. You have to factor in what's noise and what's not for you and what's important. No, there's not another clicking mouse. That's the click of the mouse. But you're using all caps. You're yelling and you're distracting. We'll just leave it at that. All right, let's keep going. Now we're looking at the S&P selling off over here. What's the levels that we're looking at, right? Yes, the Thursday morning's low. That's the low where we peaked down in London. That's where we're looking. If we take out those stops, everyone get out, we could see a bit of a waterfall down. That's for sure. Now Nasdaq over here, we're looking at these peaks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches over there. If we take that out again, that's not going to be looking good. That's coming in at 10,894. Did you get upset? All right. That put you in timeout. Jerry, man, fragility. Some people are fragile, right? Trip top bans TikTok this Sunday. No thoughts on that, right? It's probably, it looks like Oracle is definitely in the lead over there. Yeah. So anyway, that's distracting, dude. Forget the mouse clicking. You're distracting. All right. Nasdaq unchanged on the day. Juan, we were looking. Well, you see that channel over here, Juan? Let me bring that up for you. Let me make that really just clear. And I'm going to clone that line so you can see it's the exact same trajectory on the bottom. This was brought up. This was shared by Glenn on Twitter, on Stefan by Twitter, right? And you can see that is exactly what we are tracking and forming on the upside and downside. Is that the box you're talking about, Juan? I don't. That's on his end. I don't have any. I don't have any. I'm sorry, guys. You could see today my line is terrible, and you know it's called fog brain. You can't think. You can't put together coherent sentences. Again, by Monday we'll have worked through that. I apologize for that this morning. We were celebrating a 40-year wedding anniversary of my in-laws yesterday, so it was a big deal. And you know, anyone who's here daily, you know, they get it. They see the difference. Sorry about that. So, no, it's not matcha tea. It's you had a flare up of line a few weeks ago, and you know everyone saw what happened then. You know, anyway, that's enough of that. Thanks, Caleb. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate it. Let's take a look at what's going on over here. I feel like we're just kind of in a wait and see mode. Obviously, we saw the futures were up this morning, about 0.5% on the S&P and Nasdaq. Dow was able to go negative, and so far that has been faded. But we're still in no man's land, leaning towards the long for sure. Anyone who's still holding the long, that's the trade. You know where you're wrong. You gotta lean into the support, but right now, look, we're expecting a volatile day. Let's see what happens. The next hour and 10 minutes into the London close, that's when we're gonna get kind of the feel for where they're taking this the rest of the day up into that last hour. There's not a lot to do. I know it's on a Friday. Nevertheless, I mean, it's very important for me to be performing at peak performance. There's no way, unless you're at peak performance, that you can make it in this game, right? And what that means to me today, I talk about the importance, by the way, of really, like, you got to eat well. You got to sleep. You got to make sure you're exercising, even if that means if you're starting at zero, you're just going for walks. All that stuff is absolutely crucial. If you start training for something, by the way, you know, thanks, super good. Super good. Thanks for that a bit of love and support. I appreciate that, especially on a day like today. It's very important for me, right, as I am here to help guide and lead you all, that I am at the top of my game and or always. It's very important. So if I'm off, like today, right, you can hear me having trouble putting together thoughts. I take that very deeply personally, right? It's something that's very important to me. Either which way, here we are. Yeah, all that stuff is super important. Beer clarifies everything. Oh man, I could not imagine. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, anyway, thank you for that. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for struggling today. But it is what it is. But it is Friday, right? We're kind of in a hold. I'm gonna struggle through this, by the way. And by the way, man, when things are difficult, that's when you need to dig down deep and push. Everyone remembers that it was only 3 weeks ago when I was legitimately suffering when I went on the detox that triggered my Lyme, and you saw how it was just so important to me to push through for a longer session, and then finally the next day, the day after, I was back to normal, right? If it's difficult for me today, I'm sticking it out. I'm going to be here for another hour. I'm going to push through. Whoever wants to be here, that's fine. I'm going to take this into the London close. I'm going to work through it, and then I'll take care of myself, right? Get that extra sleep. Can you imagine? We got 5 kids, 4 of them under 4. How's that for rest on a weekend? I was really looking forward to, first of all, getting out this weekend my video on trading the Bitcoin bull market, what I think is the best approach. And so, well, maybe that's going to happen if I have a good day tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll be next week. It's still way early. There's no type of urgency whatsoever. I think because we saw this pullback on Bitcoin, by the way, which was a 20% pullback, right? Because we saw this pullback a little bit early in the cycle over here, 20%, that means that the first 30% pullback, if and when we go on to make new all-time highs, right? So once we take out 12,500, at that point, the first 30% pullback might come not for a little while after that. That might not come for a while after that. So I don't feel that any type of urgency to get this out. It's going to be the most important video of the year, right? It's going to help a lot of people stay on the right side of this trade. When I talk about the correlation between Bitcoin is going to break between everything else in the later part, starting in the first quarter of 2021, and then in the later part, it's because of this massive spike move up you're going to get. And then again, the same thing on the downside. It's going to break also to the downside. You could be looking at 2022, early 2023. You could be looking at equity markets at all-time highs, and you could be looking whatever the dollar's doing. Gold and silver could continue on their bull market run. Gold could be trading above 3,000, silver above 100, and Bitcoin's going to crash. So, by the way, let me back up a minute for let me find that to say thank you. Arshan, I want to highlight that to the group to say thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thanks for the coffee. I could use it today. By the way, I love me some Blue Bottle. Thank you for that. I appreciate the love, brother. Thank you, Jude, for smashing that like button and help support the channel over here. Definitely appreciate that. As I do all. I mean, that's as genuine can be, right? So, you guys know that. Let's take a look at the pound US dollar. I'm glad I went back up and saw that. And pound US dollar is stuck into some resistance right over there, right? You can see the resistance over here. You can see us having a little bit of trouble. Should I be moving that down? Do you see the market is focused on these peaks right there? And then you could see that was the lows right there. So does it make sense now so when the market's showing me, people ask, how come I don't use like boxes? Like I have a box over here. That's the only one out of all these charts though. And because I use I use precision for the support and resistance, and you could see, and everyone can see that normally that's where we come into, but I move them, and anytime I move them, I tell you all that I'm moving this, and this is why I'm moving it. I see the market focused at that level right now, right? I had it over here on these bodies over here and on those peaks over there, but the market's focused over here now, right? And then I could see, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I adjust to the market. You got to clear above over here to feel good about the pound US dollar again. You got to get above, it's $1.30, right? And if you tie in the dollar to that, right, that would coincide with the dollar breaking down from this trend line over there. It would make a lot of sense. If the DXY, if the dollar loses this important support over here, right, then we're going to see and look for or expect. It's all about not predicting, managing. we're going to expect a bigger move down over there. And then you'll see that also playing out here on the pound US dollar. That would lead us towards, right? And I see resistance over here. That's probably the first area you would target, right? Let's get rid of this. So, by the way, you guys see, because, you know, it's important we build each other up and support each other. But first of all, everyone's stepping in there. Thank you for that. But you see, when things got difficult, what do we need to do? We need to push. When things get difficult, you don't give up. You don't give up when things get difficult. You push even harder. You gotta have that mindset. You gotta have that mentality. Because to be successful at anything, it takes a lot of heart and it takes a lot of work and dedication. Thanks, ML. You guys make me feel great. So thank you, Eric. Definitely appreciate that. After the action report, I'm not Nightman. I don't know what the action report is. So my biggest focus on today was right now at 10 o'clock. We just had the Michigan consumer sentiment. I don't think that's going to move the market. Let's see what it came in just for fun, right? Let's take a look and see what the consumer confidence numbers came in, and they should be. Am I looking at last week? Here we go to the 18th. Here we go. Expectation was 75. They came in a little bit higher. I don't even know what that is. I don't pay attention at all to medium impact news events. If they hit or miss by a big number, they could affect the numbers. But I always do pay attention to the consumer sentiment. But going into the session, I didn't think it would be a market mover, only because of what's going on with the virus and COVID. But we will watch. We'll watch. Yeah, we looked at that book on Wednesday's afternoon video. Silver's breaking down or not? No, silver's bouncing off support over here. So if you're looking to attack silver, two things to focus in on, everyone. First of all, I do not short things in bull markets, right? I do not short things in bull markets personally. Now, are we in a bull market in silver? A strong one. If you're looking at from a swing trader's perspective, where to lean in, right? And you had an entry right here, you're right at it, but you see this support, this trend line support is holding. So until you break that, there's no way that you'd want to sell that, right? Now, the easy entry over here is a breakout above or leaning off this support. Anytime you come into this support line, it's a place to lean off of to buy as you make a higher high. And more importantly, the horizontal support right over here at 26. More importantly, this line over here, anytime you touch that, that's a place to lean and buy. If you break 26 at that point, all right, maybe silver's going to dump. We will just be neutral. Everyone who's trading the paper stuff, get on the side, right? Why do you get on the side? Two things. First of all, if you get a wick down and then come back up above this trend line, you can get long again. That's a good trade over there. You're getting short, you're getting neutral though, because you're waiting for a bigger pronounced pullback. Maybe it's 24.50. If that support holds and you resume off of it, time to get long again. Maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe you keep falling down and you come into 23.30, right? All right, that's a great place to lean into if we're able to hold that. What happens if we break 23.50? Well, we still got 22. I don't think any of this will happen, by the way. I do not think any of this will happen. I don't think we're going to lose 23.30, worst case scenario. If we do, we got another support right below it, $1 lower, 22.35. If we lost that, forget about it. Then we're coming down, all right? And then we're probably looking either somewhere around 19.50 or 18.50. That's why we just watch the levels. We'll do it together, though. Nice, Star. Nice. Nice. Do you agree? I have no idea what. Oh, they're saying that they're pushing for a sell until 95. I mean, no, I don't know. I mean, CNBC is like a little bit of a red flag for me. I agree with our analysis here. It's spot on. So I don't try to predict the future. I just follow what's happening. If you're looking at Apple, right? You know, no, we're into support right over here. And as long as this support's over here, I'd be looking, that's a place to lean and buy. As across all of the equity markets, by the way, right? All of the equity markets, we all have the surest clarity when it comes to this. And at one point, we would seeing a breakdown until when you're into support, you're not bearish, you're bullish until it breaks. At that point, right, is what they're saying on CNBC correct? You know, if we lose this support over here, let me draw it in. I have it in here on Amazon for you. It's the same exact support, right? You can see it over here. Now, if you break down below this support area over here, right, could we then be seeing 95? For sure. For sure. For sure. That's a good look at. Hey, CNBC's got a good level of support, right? Right? Do you see that? Support, resistance, right at 95. Yeah, that's the exact same level we'd be looking at. And if that doesn't hold, right, could go down to 93.20 all day long. Got some bigger support over here at 89. Yeah, they got some good analysis over there. But you got to break this important support before you think about that. That's where they're getting it wrong. Silent passes. I use a Mac mouse, and that's all. Is that clicking super annoying? There we go. Just got to look at Apple. Jordan, any chance you could do a long-term investing video for some weekend content for, say, people who have a lump sum spread out between dollar, gold, silver, and Bitcoin? Dan, the one on Bitcoin is definitely coming. When it comes to gold or silver, I remain uber bullish in this macro environment on both of them until growth returns to the U.S. Now, when is that going to be? No, I don't have any idea. I assume from where we are today, that's a couple of years out. Best case scenario. Best case scenario, I think it's a couple of years out, right? Will it be that soon? Who knows? And as far as the dollar, I have no idea. We follow the dollar just off of I cannot predict what's going to happen on the dollar, but I can say, right, all year long, all of the videos are on the channel over here, and we've seen some phenomenal moves and calls coming back over here. I remember everyone was very, very bearish on the dollar over here. I remember it. You could go back and you could look at the videos, the weekly Forex forecast and analysis. It was published on a Saturday or a Sunday right over here at the end of December. And again over here, December 12th, everyone was uber bearish. And I told everyone, no, we are bullish unless we lose this level. Sound familiar? We held the level, right? And then after we saw the breakout of this trend line, we got super, super bullish. We saw that retest again. We went all the way up to 100, right? Coming down over here, I held the line again. And boom, we popped up. I was super bullish, expecting us to break out of this channel to the upside. I was super bullish, expecting us to pop out of the channel to test and break 103. It didn't happen. Everyone could come back over here, and I was just super bullish until we broke outside of the channel. And even though I was like internally bullish on the dollar, technically I had a break, and I got everyone bearish on the dollar, right? And then we saw the big move down, the retrace, and then the resumption down. And then here we are. And as long as we rode down this trend line over here, I kept everyone super, super bearish on the dollar. Once we popped up, I extended this trend line, and now I've kept everyone watching. I didn't bite right away. I'm waiting for that confirmation. Here's where we are today. So that's all I could do on the dollar. I can't predict where the dollar is going to be 1 month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months, or 2 years. I have no idea, and it's one of the greatest debates going on, right? So I can't, but I can follow what's going on this near-term basis, and just keep ourselves on the right side of that trade. And even though I have more of a larger term macro view of gold and silver and the precious metals and what I expect is going to be happening, if that changes because of something technical, well, then we're going to change as well, right? So I hope that's helpful, Dan. I hope that was helpful. And if it was, go ahead and smash that like button. And everyone should be positioned long on Bitcoin right now, in my opinion. Everyone should be positioned long on Bitcoin, as we've got not only the macro. When I talk about macro, you could be talking about on-chain activity. You have over 63% of people, right, who have been holding on the chain, who have been holding Bitcoin for over a year. Now that includes the spike down during the crisis to 3,800. They 63% held their Bitcoin through all of that. Do you think they're selling their Bitcoin? You know, you got on-chain analysis. You have the 4-year cycle. After the halving, we've gotten into that bullish phase, right? Clear as day. And then technically on the charts, this is something where you have the macro and the technical lined up. You know, the most important trade going on in the markets. So I hope everyone is nice, Kips. Nice, Kips. Did you mention dealing with Lime? Yeah, you picked up that I'm struggling today. Dennis, definitely having a bad day today with that Lime, but I've been having more good days than bad days ever since that flare-up has started. Yeah. Ricardo, thanks for being here every day, adding to this. No, I don't think Bitcoin is pulling back to $10,000. Let's look at it really quick over here. Look, Bitcoin, by the way, when we were inside this blue box, I had no way of knowing what was going to happen if we broke to the downside or the upside. We wound up breaking to the upside, and we've come in and we've tested this broken resistance here at 10,572, and so far it's held. So as long as that's holding, right, my base case is that we actually come up over here and break above back into this trend line. Now, is it possible that we have another test at 10,572 and break it? If that happens, right, well then we got right over here, that's at 10,200. That is a little bit of local support, and you know, as long as that holds, no. If you break that, then not only could we be looking at 10,000, but then the odds of us breaking increase of the little bit of support over here drastically increase, and then I would be targeting down over here around 9,300 now. So is that possible, or is it possible that we take out? There's a lot of supply here at 91. There's a lot of supply over 9,000, right? Is it possible that we take out stops down there and trade even down to like something like 8,800? Yeah, that's all wildly possible. And if you, by the way, always expecting 30% pullbacks, that's about 29% right into 8,800, right? Right around, right? So is that possible? Absolutely. You have to be. I saw a lot of people as we took this 20% pullback really get really shook. If you're trading Bitcoin, which is full of price discovery, it's a new asset. It's a $200 billion asset that in the next 14 months is on its way to be over $1 trillion asset. You got to expect volatility. You got to expect those 30% pullbacks. And it could be higher. You could have we had a 140% pullback in the last bull market run. If you come down over here, you can see we had several 30% pullbacks. They're highlighted in these areas over here. And we had over here, this is 140% pullback, right? So if you had trouble with the 20% pullback, and a lot of people had a lot of trouble with the 20% pullback, you either need to lighten up on your position, or you need to reframe the way that you're thinking about it and what your expectations are. And your expectations should be ready for multiple 30% pullbacks. Dun, 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 dun. So what are we looking at? Nasdaq basically unchanged, up a little bit. Next 45 minutes, kind of important here. We're looking at Dow down almost 0.5%, and S&P also unchanged. So All hands on deck. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Danielle. Roman, thank you, brother. Thank you for that. What do I expect? This is a great Friday topic, right? That's a great Friday topic. Come right back into that. I want to make sure. Ali, brother. Thank you. Thank you for that, Ali. And Roman too, man. Thank you guys. Definitely, you guys know how much you mean to me. I know that's for sure. Great question. Thanks, Roman. Great question that we had over here about where is the money going to come from. It's just perfect for Friday, and especially where we are right now. Yeah, Dennis. I'm glad I caught that comment, man. Thank you for that. Kip's guitar, man. We need a Kip's commodity channel. We really do, brother. I mean, not right now, Steve. But on-chain analysis is things that are happening on-chain. That's something, Steve, I would have to prepare for in order to present, right? In order to present different things, different on-chain analysis, things that are happening on the Bitcoin blockchain. Great topic, but I would have to be prepared. I would have to put some degree of research into the presentation before I could go ahead and share that. The question was, dollar's having problems rallying so far. You hear all those crazy kids? The question was, I'm trying to find it, by the way. It was what could lead to what type of money could we see coming into Bitcoin? Oh my goodness. During the last bear market, basically on-ramps for institutions were set up. Now institutions, they can't go ahead and buy and store their own Bitcoin. They need a third party custody to do that for them. The ICE, the parent of the New York Stock Exchange, they partnered, right, with a bunch of people and set up Bakkt. Bakkt is including Fidelity, including actually Starbucks, right? And they created the Bakkt exchange for institutions as an on-ramp for institutional investors. Fidelity also themselves has gotten very, very involved for that. They also just 2 weeks ago launched a fund where the minimum investment is $100,000, targeting high net worth individuals. Now, institutions at this point, you are seeing not only institutions, you saw 3 weeks ago the public company MicroStrategy. And by the way, there are numerous, including the Teachers Union of California, there are numerous pension funds who own MicroStrategy and therefore now own Bitcoin. They purchased $500 million of Bitcoin. Their average price is $11,111. They purchased almost $500 million of Bitcoin that they want to hold on their balance sheet, right? Now, there's a lot of other cash-rich companies, such as Apple, sitting on $2 trillion. And every single one of these public companies, after the move by MicroStrategy, is now watching. By the way, the CEO of MicroStrategy just did a podcast on Real Vision, which was released. I will probably be looking forward to watching that this weekend. And he did one also on Anthony Popolano's channel earlier in the week, right? I'm halfway through that one. And he basically said, and this guy, rewind 5 years ago, was ultra bearish on Bitcoin. He called it gambling. I don't know if he called it a scam or not. But over these last few years, he's done his research. He's done his research from the exact same places we do our research, and he came to understand the value proposition of Bitcoin. He loved the fact that we had those fork wars. Remember Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV? Why did he love it? He said because he saw the whole community defend Bitcoin. He's not looking for some type of new technology, hence altcoin, that has faster transactions. He's looking for the community that at all costs is going to defend Bitcoin. He said that gave him and will give other people, other CEOs, the confidence to invest that type of money, $450 billion into Bitcoin. He was the first. He will not be the last. There will be other cash-rich companies, who are public companies, who are going to invest in Bitcoin, right? Now, what about institutions themselves? Pensions, they're all coming in. Now, they generally won't do that. They've been looking right now, they're looking at this halving event as a model case study in real time to see what happens, right? As Bitcoin hits $50,000, as it becomes a $1 trillion asset class, at that point, those who are not off zero yet, they're going to have no choice but to come in and take a position. Now, whether that's 1% or 5%, regardless of what it is, you're talking about an enormous and substantial amount of money that is still yet to come in, and they're all watching it. If you talk about Bitcoin 4 years ago, institutions were not interested. Right now, there's not an institution that's not only not open to it, but not interested in it. You have legendary Paul Tudor Jones, right, in his fund taking the position in Bitcoin. So it's up so far into this time, back a year ago, this has been led by retail. That's changing right now. Over the next 14 months, you're going to see a big move from institutions. Vintage Souffle. Man, that's a website we got to check out. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate the love. I definitely do. Thank you. I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. I actually want to. Is that the website, Vintage Souffle? Are we on estes.com? I'm going to be checking that out after the live stream. I'm interested. Question about noise versus signal. Silver and gold move all the time because we measure it in US dollars, which itself fluctuates. Any way we can remove that noise to see the signal on actual buy sells? Not that I know of, Ali. I know that you could obviously look at silver and Bitcoin versus other fiat currencies. And although you see gold at all-time highs versus these other currencies, is also versus the dollar, doing way more damage versus other currencies. No, not that I know of whatsoever. But I think when you're talking about signal versus noise, when it comes to the precious metals, you're looking at, number one, not only a low interest rate environment, you're looking at more and more of global debt going into negative territory. That's what gold is trading off of. That is exactly what gold is trading off of. There's a beautiful chart showing the relationship. I don't have it. If anyone could find it, please share it with us. And it shows as the more global debt, and by the way, you looked at the UK, right, bringing up and considering taking their interest rates negative. That's a trend that is going to continue, I believe. Gold and silver in this, they're just uber bullish in my mind. Steve, is that true? That's crazy skates. That's crazy skates, Steve. I don't know anything about that. I'm only halfway through the interview, and then I'm going to watch the one on Real Vision as well soon. Trying to catch up on some comments over here. That's right. We are beyond early. And guess what? Those who are not believers that get to watch this cycle, like institutions, get to watch this halving event, which triggered the bull market, play out over the next 14 months or so, right? Go through the bear market. They'll have time to accumulate at a great price, $30,000, $40,000, and then they'll be able to ride the next cycle up, right? I don't understand this comment whatsoever, but everyone has a chance to participate in Bitcoin. You could buy a fraction of a Bitcoin You know, stop buying coffee and take that money and save it, and then monthly make Bitcoin purchases. You could buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. Everyone has the possibility to participate. Yeah, Steve, this was a good one. I'm gonna let me pull up my Twitter 1 second, because if you go to what we liked over here this morning, you could see that the latest report from ARK Invest, and it links to the white paper. It says that there's a variety of value captures paths for Bitcoin could take to become a multi-trillion-dollar asset in the coming years. ARK Invest, though, and by the way, when you talk about long-term investments, that's an ETF that I am interested in. Anyone who wants to do more research into ARK, I'm not following them. I signed up for their newsletter, though. I don't know why I wasn't following them. They talk about a different one of the hypothetical values propositions of Bitcoin is a protection against asset seizure. You're going to start seeing that in the cities, states. They're running out of money. What are they going to be doing? Right? Bitcoin's unconfiscatable. Right? That's only one. What about this one? The value as digital gold. Right? So if Bitcoin right now, which has over here, it looks about a little over 2% of the market share of gold, right? It's valued at $5,000 at 1%. At 5% of the market cap of gold, you're looking at Bitcoin at $22,000. If it captures 10%, that's Bitcoin traded at $42,000. Now, the Winklevoss brothers were the first that I know of had said that the next milestone or goal for Bitcoin is to take over the market cap for gold. That's not going to happen this cycle, but the one after it, the bull market we're going to be entering 4 years from now, and we'll be coming to an apex 5 years from now. At that point, there's the possibility that Bitcoin overtakes the market cap of gold. Who knows what gold's market cap will be at that point? So you can't do the math. But right now, that would be valuing every Bitcoin at about $375,000. What is this? This is M2 money supply. And you can see Bitcoin, they have it valued at almost $60,000 at 5%. Right? Right now, it has less than 1% of M2. So interesting stuff. At least interesting for myself. I didn't read the white paper. And I'm probably not going to, but interesting. Australian dollar, US dollar. Let's take a look. Market's still unchanged, by the way. I'm keeping track of that in my head as we go through this this Friday flow. It is what it is. So, Australian dollar, US dollar. Right? I feel like a trend line takes place between this resistance and that support. Let me take a look real quick and see if that's correct or not. Maybe not. Absolutely so. See, I focused in over here on these touches. That is also resistance over here. That's now all support. So I also like that this is developing over here, right? You can see that looks like, right, a triangle that's developing over there. That's a pretty good something to lean into over there. And a break back above here. You see a break back above here. That opens up the upside. Right now, you're definitely in no man's land, right? You can clone this trend line, by the way. Let me just take that away. Take that away. You clone this trend line, by the way. You see right there, it just kind of flew to where it should be. I'll put it up a tiny, tiny bit, right? And that's also a nice guide. That's a nice guide, but I'm going to get rid of this one just to make my chart cleaner, because this is the more important one. And we're in no man's land right now. Break above, look to buy. Come down and challenge this trend line, right? That's a place to look to lean into buy. Still have this important horizontal support. Break below the support down over here, And then we're seeing or looking for probably experiencing some massive risk off and looking on the downside. Bitcoin held its own throughout all of, by the way, Bitcoin has been holding its own. You used to see, when the equity markets were selling off, Bitcoin would get demolished. We saw the equity markets coming down 3%, 2% earlier in the week. Bitcoin didn't budge, but that's going to be more pronounced next year. Yeah, we looked at that. I'm probably reading your question late, but we did look at that. Yeah, you're right, Dr. Loco. But I mean, yes. Nice, Bart. Arguably the biggest Bitcoin adoption move of 2020 turned 78,300. Steve, I don't know if you know how many days of mining that is, but it's a lot. They just took into just 18 on-chain ones. Wow. Interesting, Bart. And should continue to. And should continue to. Nasdaq crashing. I see the Nasdaq unchanged on the day. Coming in to, we have about a half hour to the London close. The Nasdaq, this trend line is oh so important. By the way, check this out really quick because see these spikes over there. Let's touch these two lines and see what that does for us. And you could see like magic, right? You can see like magic. So that's an important place, right? And I focus more on this trend line over here, right? With both of them. Let me make this pretty big over here, that horizontal support over there. That's the big area. And as long as we hold that, though, I'm bullish. I remain bullish until we get a big technical break. Yep, that's the beauty of the markets. That's why I love the markets so much. There are so many, but my favorite way is BlockFi. My favorite way is BlockFi. Yeah, TD Ameritrade offers GBTC, which is basically a ETF in disguise. It's run by Grayscale, but you don't need to. By the way, limit your options. TD Ameritrade is just one broker. You could BlockFi. Man, I can't imagine a public company that's been around for, what is it, 30 years or 40 years, and a CEO that has been around that long, who once called Bitcoin a scam, going out and spending $450 billion to add to a Ponzi scam. That doesn't sound right to me. That does not sound right to me at all. By the way, Richard, you're the first person I've heard Bitcoin call a Ponzi scam in about 3 years. There's a link below for BlockFi. BlockFi remains my favorite place to purchase Bitcoin. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Friday flow. By the way, I was very, and continue to be very proud, very, very happy with how we've been navigating this move on the dollar, which is tough, right? This has been tough, and we never bought, right? We never bought this move over here, and rightfully so, right? And that's just top analysis right there. And in the same way, I'm equally as happy or proud as earlier in the session when I was struggling, right? Struggling, and I just made that mental decision that I'm going to dig in and push, and to be able to turn that around, focusing on the good like that is important. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, beautiful coming out of. So by the way, I missed all of this myself, the breakout over here. But I remember with all of you watching and calling out this bull flag, right? And then you see the breakout of the bull flag into the first area of resistance. Look at the mouse, follow the mouse all the way to the left, right? First in this area, and then all through here. And then what happened after there? The pullback, testing the breakout, and then the resumption up, conquering the markets all day long. Now you're into resistance right now, right? Following the price action though, if you haven't yet taken profits, and when I say taking profits, I mean taking a small piece off. As you come into the resistance over here, right? I take a small piece off always and move my stop loss to break even. I'm looking to push levels. I'm not looking to take small profit. You can't make a living taking small profit. When I say small profit, I mean taking your full position off here, right? Take a small piece off. What is it? That's up to you. 15%, 25%, but the larger piece stays on. That's what you're pushing. That's where you make your money. It's very simple. The only way to survive and thrive in this game is to cut your losers short and push your winners. Good looking trade. Nice job for being in that. Richard, man, I'm with you, brother. Thank you for that. Right back at you. There you go. You could buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. So if you don't need a hardware wallet, by the way, if you own $100 worth of Bitcoin, right, you could store that on the exchange you bought it off at. When you get to a place where you think that your risk to reward warrants spending $70 for a hardware wallet, and if that's to protect $1,000, that makes sense to me, right? Because that $1,000 of Bitcoin, what if you're looking at a 10, 15x, right? So instead of that makes sense to protect it. Yeah. I mean, so does anyone think that the grid worldwide is going down? But by the way, there's up in space, there's a satellite that is broadcasting the Bitcoin blockchain down to Earth. Yeah, and it's not an ETF, but it's the closest thing to an ETF. It's an ETF in disguise. Thank you, John. And dollar cost averaging it is a fantastic strategy. I'm not predicting, Ben. Go ahead and look at the Bitcoin playlist on the channel. Watch the first 4 or 5 videos, and you could see the analysis I've done, and then you could see actually that playing out now in real time as we've finished and gone through the halving event, and then technically broke out into the bull market. So I'm not just predicting. That all comes off of research and analysis. Oh yeah. So it depends for you. I mean, I look to accumulate Bitcoin, and I'm not really. Someone pointed out that Monday is the best day. This is coming from research, Monday is the best day to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. I haven't read the research myself, but I trust the person who shared it for sure. And but I look to at this level, what is Bitcoin trading at? Bitcoin's trading at $10,000, $11,000. I'm targeting $140,000 on Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, I don't really care if Bitcoin's $11,000 or it's $9,000. I'm looking to add and buy Bitcoin. The government, no, for sure that it's a very real situation that a government could try to come against Bitcoin. Now it's too late for them to be able to do some type of attack against the blockchain itself. They could have done that earlier on, but it's not a threat. It's a $200 billion market. It's not a threat. And I do not think personally, and of course, maybe things change in the future, but the chance of right now of Bitcoin becoming the reserve currency is extraordinarily low, right? I mean, at best, what is it? Like a 5% chance? At best. That's not really the goal, right? But is the goal to overtake the market cap of gold? Yeah, that's a realistic goal that should happen. That has a very probable chance, I should say, of happening in about 5 years. And if it doesn't happen in 5 years from now, it will happen in 9 years. So, but could they confiscate your Bitcoin? Well, they can't confiscate it. They can make it illegal. That's for sure, right? But other governments, this has been played through game theory by a lot of people within the space. And like, if that's something that you're really interested in seeing, you could just Google that and find some really cool information. Yeah, JC, it's a huge edge. We're seeing a sell-off definitely now occurring. We're going to look at some important levels in a moment on the equity markets just to make sure we all have that awareness. Could you buy Bitcoin without a hardware? It depends how much Bitcoin you're buying. But yes, on an exchange, whether it's something like BlockFi, whether it's Gemini, whether it's Kraken, even if it were Coinbase, you could purchase Bitcoin and hold it on that exchange the same way when you purchase a stock, right, on a TD Ameritrade or on Robinhood, you're holding that stock on that platform. It's the same thing. Lengthening cycle theory could come into play. We will be watching that. But even if lengthening cycle theory is coming into play, my 140,000 Bitcoin target stands, right? We looked at charts of that shared by Dr. Loco. And I don't think so. It could be. We'll find out over the next year or so. And it could be. And but because of the 4-year halving event, which triggers the bull and bear market, I do not lean towards that at all. Aware of it, watching, but I don't lean in that direction. And at the end of the day, I have no problem being. I just want to understand the truth. I just want to understand what is. Pen was at, I heard it's $60 yesterday. Was it at 60 just yesterday or 60 a couple days ago? Now it's 73. Yeah, does it have more upside? Man, Davey Day Trader, I mean, that's someone that you probably want to get behind, right? I don't know, by the way, look at this pattern. Cup, handle, breakout, boom. Right now, obviously you're not buying into a peak, but just look for all the consolidations. And then the resumption's out, right? Long term, probably goodbye. I heard Jim Cramer saying on a soundbite that I forgot. I think he says they have. I forgot the numbers, but there was substantial upside there. Yeah, Bitcoin could drop down. We just looked at that earlier in the session. Like if it dropped down to 8,800, I would believe it. But I don't. It looks super bullish to me. See this blue box after we broke out to the upside. We then retested that broken resistance, flipped it back into support. It looks bullish. What's the, well, I mean, I think one of the most important things when you view that question is what's the point of Bitcoin if you have an EMP attack or a solar storm or simply lose power, then everything's gone. Well, if you simply lose power, nothing's gone, right? But if you're, I mean, man, you can't manage your investments off of thinking of a meteor is going to come hit the earth or thinking that there's going to be a nuclear war tomorrow, right? Should you own, look, I already own, physical gold and silver, and I have for a very long time. And but to not own Bitcoin at this point is simply because you haven't done enough research. And if you do enough research, I think that you would be taking a position. But to make, an investment, to run your investment thesis off of some improbable event happening, that does not seem like it's going to work out very well. Yeah, altcoins will no, not in the, yeah, yes and no. So again, the whole reason that you had the CEO of MicroStrategy just put in $450 billion into Bitcoin was because of those other altcoins trying to attack Bitcoin and then seeing the community defend Bitcoin. Those failed forks of Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SUV, that just increased Bitcoin's overall stability, right? Bitcoin's called the honey badger for a reason, And no, there's altcoins at the end will only make Bitcoin stronger. Altcoins should outperform and take up a large market cap of Bitcoin during this bull cycle, but during the bear cycle, as Bitcoin crashes 80-85%, those altcoins are going to be crashing 95% or more. Nice. Nice, Kips. Let me know when it's there. Thanks, Steve, for being a part of this all, as you all are. Let me take a look here, get some important levels over here at the S&P. So everyone is very, very sure what they're looking at over here. We have over here the low of Thursday morning, the London session coming in at 33.20, right? 33.20. What else do we have? Make sure you have your stop in. By the way, if that stop gets triggered and then you spike up and make a higher high, getting back above that trend line, back above that horizontal support at 33, that's also a buy, but don't hold and hope. If you get a big technical break, time to get out and get safe. What about on the Nasdaq over here, right? We're looking all the way down over here at 10,888. That needs to be taken out for us to become that bearish, that we had a technical break. All right. We're seeing the dollar selling off, the dollar coming back down and challenging that support line over here again. Interesting, right? And you notice that you're not seeing a bid to the dollar as the equity markets are under a little bit of pressure. Gold trading up. We talked about that buying opportunity right there. And also silver bouncing off of that support over there. Bitcoin unchanged on the day. Everyone, thank you. There's your support on Amazon, $29.50. Apple, challenging support right now. Now, it's not a spike. It's got to close below that level. It's got to close below that level. Amazon, well off. Everyone has their levels. Thank you, brother. Absolutely, I will make sure that I am in top form for Monday. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you, brother. I live in Mexico. It's soft tacos all day long. Thank you, Ali. Thank you very much, G. Dr. Loco, I just had to listen to my body there, and otherwise I would have loved to. You too. Thank you, Shane, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Sam, man. I appreciate that. It was a tough one, as you know. Isaiah. Thank you, Ben. JC, de nada. Thank you, Steve. Carlos, there's a link below in the description. You don't need the code. You can just click on that link. Thank you for being so kind and generous to ask. Chile, viva! Independence we need to fight for every day. What is that? Thank you, brother. Yeah, Dave, that's for sure. Grinding it out for the wins. Thank you for that. Obviously, thank you for that very, 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 very much correction over there. Obviously, I'm way off my brain. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Absolutely. God bless you too. God bless you all. Thank you, Ali. The link below for BlockFi is in the description of the video. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the community. Tom. Gerard. Brandon. Thank you, Gemma. Thank you, brother. Sam. Thanks, Nick. I'll be back. I'll be fresh. Thank you. Nothing wrong with paying attention to that. Thank you, Joseph. The market has spoken, and the answer was a resounding no. Tesla over here, right? This was where we looked to buy. I'd said, everyone, if we lose this trend line, time to get out and protect yourself. That's because the equities were on the verge of breaking down. We did break through there, but held this trend line support, right? And are now resuming off of it. You have on Tuesday, as I stand corrected, battery day. Is it possible you continue pumping up into battery day? For sure. Look, if you break this trend line over here now, if you're still in this trade, I would get out. I told everyone they should get out losing this trend line, taking that nice move over there. But now you made a higher high off the trend line over here. Back into Tesla, makes sense. Lose this trend line, you get out of Tesla, protect yourself, because at that point, the next support is substantially lower. Right? What are you targeting over here? You can see the resistance, right? But this is where you're targeting into that trend line over there. If you get a nice pump, it's possible. But, you know, again, this is where I would have got out of Tesla, and I would be still out of Tesla right now. S&P 500, it's over here. It's if you break down below the low of Wednesday London session, that's coming in at 33.20, 33.19. That has to be your stop. If you break there, you get out. Everyone, have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Have a beautiful weekend. I enjoyed the session. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon.